that meets environment and societal needs, it's a bearable action. Means that you can do it. Intersection between economic and social, equitable. So if you have an action that meets social needs and economic requirements, it's equitable. And then the intersection between the three pillars identifies, or the intersection between bearable, equitable, and viable identifies what is sustainable. So in order to identify sustainability, you have to cross economic constraints, environmental constraints, and social constraints. You have to cross what is equitable with what is bearable and what is viable. Still, this is something that I will not ask you at the exam. It's just to keep in mind what are the three pillars, the three constraints, the three classes of constraints that you have to consider. Now, sustainability requires, and it is in red actually, the first row, the first bullet point, integral elements of sustainability are research, innovation, education, technological transfer, and policy making. Okay, now an important concept. Sustainability is closely connected to resilience. This is another buzzword. Buzzword means a very fashionable term. A term that gets the attention of the media, etc. Resilience. The resilience, again, was first defined in ecology. And it's the capacity of an ecosystem to absorb disturbance and still remain its basic viability. So resilience is extremely important when you talk about water resources management. Resilience means that you have a water supply system that can suffer from a drought without compromising its ability to deliver water. How to reach that, we will see that. Okay? So, for instance, if you have two water supply systems that are connected using two different water sources, one that is taking water from a river, the other one that is taking water from underground, groundwater. Groundwater reacts to a drought with more delay. When you have a drought, which is originated by typically lack of precipitation, then you have surface water decreasing soon, groundwater decreasing in the long term. Which means that if you have a water resources system that takes water from surface sources only rivers, during a drought it suffers a lot soon. If it takes water from the underground, it may suffer 1 year later. So if you have two of these systems, getting water from a river, getting water from groundwater, and you connect them, you make the system more resilient. Because the year of the drought, you take water from the underground, and a year later, you take water from surface water. In fact, connections between water supply systems, it's a possible action to ensure sustainability, to ensure resilience and sustainability. Resilience, again, is the capacity of absorbing shocks while still serving to the purpose. Okay. I think it's okay. Yeah, let me say, just to close today, the concept of sustainable development is a bit criticized because it's deemed to be an utopia, something impossible. And what is the reason why it's deemed to be impossible? Because by definition, the Earth system is unsustainable because of a finite duration. And this is why I mentioned today, we know that life on the Earth will will not last forever. Because as I said, you know, if you look at the dynamics of planets, and they are progressively getting colder and colder. I mean, the interior of the Earth is progressively getting colder and colder. And this is a natural evolution of the planet as a consequence of the way our planet was originated. And if it gets colder and colder, the magnetic field, which is necessary for life, is going to decrease its intensity. So we know that in billions of years, the Earth will become colder and colder without magnetic field and will become like Mars. On Mars, you know that it's already clear and proved that there was water, a lot of water on Mars. And it's not clear how water disappeared. But one of the possibilities is that basically what happened is that the magnetic field of Mars disappeared, and therefore without the magnetic field, if you want more information, please go on the web and understand why, the planet is more exposed to solar radiations, which may have caused the separation of the molecules of water in hydrogen and oxygen. And this is a good example to understand that without magnetic field, the life on Earth would be impossible. And the magnetic field, by definition, not by definition, the magnetic field, we know that is going to decrease its intensity and ultimately to disappear. So basically, some people say we know that life is not lasting forever, so sustainable development is an utopia. On the other hand, we have to think at the time horizon. In a time horizon that is short enough, sustainable development is not an utopia. Of course, we know that in the long term, we cannot affect processes like tectonics or whatever. So if at some time it will happen that Europe will split into continents, we cannot have an influence on that. But it's also true that these are processes that have a time horizon, a time scale that is much longer than the time scale of life, probably, and is much longer of a useful time scale for us, which may extend to a couple of thousand of years. But, I mean, we are talking about a different time scale, so it's perfectly justified that in our time scale we talk about sustainable development. Okay. Now, let's meet on Thursday. Again, no PC on Thursday, and we will start with the PC next week, okay? Good, thank you.